video series, you'll know that I finished Princess of Apshai yesterday, which means today I don't have a comic to work on, but I do, sort of. The new 9-volt compilation is going to be Weird Arcana, and I had planned on doing a sequel to this story. Whoops, right here. Prometheus Powers story, which is one of, I don't know, I've done maybe 3 or 4 stories with Prometheus Power. And this one features, kind of in a cameo, his evil uncle Stardust, who is right here. Whoops. You can see him right here. And if you know anything about Stardust, Stardust is Fletcher Hanks' character from the golden age of comics, who had these really crazy comics, and he was like an overpowered sort of Superman or Shazam clone, but he was always really brutal to the bad guys. So in my version of this comic, he's a villain. He's the bad guy, but he's like he's part of this Titan War. Now here he is. There's my version of him. Whoops. And I've already done the first page. Let me let it load here. So what I thought I would do is I will do about 4 pages of this new comic just in the roughs, hopefully, before I start inking. Because what I think kind of happened with Apshai is I was really doing well at the end. And you can see, like, even here's my last page of Apshai, and like, the inking is great on this. But when you compare it to my first pages, they're a bit sparse. On my very first page, and you can see how there's like a lot of white on the page, and I probably could have used more tones or used more dark. I could have been better at drawing the characters. Rather than redraw it and just kind of go over the already trodden ground. I thought what I might do is pencil about 4 pages of it first, of the new comic. And, whoops, almost deleted that. Pencil about 4 pages. There's first page is a big splash page, so it's the easiest one to do because it's just one big thing. And then go back and I start inking it. So this is, an opener. And here we have Stardust. He's one of the interesting things about the Titans is they have these forearm guards normally, and Stardust doesn't have his because he was actually already banished during the Titan War. Prometheus Powers has the forearm guards, and even his other uncle Starlock. There's Stardust, Starlock, Starlock the Slayer right here. He's got him. I could redraw this one too. I mean, it's one of those things. So they're all related. All of these characters. I think there's another Starlock story. This one right here. And this is before I was figuring out my leading problems. And you can see the art isn't perfect, but it's what I had at the time. It's what I was doing. Anyhow, Starlock, like Stardust, does not have the power to walk between dimensions, and neither does Prometheus Powers, by the way. He has to use some kind of ability to do it, some kind of charm. So, Stardust, if he were to get these armbands back, he feels like he could get into his home dimension where he has these magical weapons and magical things. And actually, he has a secret, which I don't want to go into just yet, that he thinks would make his life way better. But he got tricked by Prometheus Powers. So now he's mad. The gateways of the world of Figment remain barred to our kind. Okay. So, I've got to figure out, so what happens with Stardust? Well, he's in this lander, this landing craft, which has the ability to cross the dimensions, but he's going to try and get to his home dimension. And I've got to figure, I don't have a design for the ship yet, so I got to figure that out too. Maybe I'll do like, what this? I know the sequence of panels pretty much. He's going to attempt to go through this portal and it fails. And maybe he tries to fly the lander through it. The lander is the one belonging to Thaddeus Van Ruin, who he's helping in exchange for this gift. I got to figure out a good ship design, though. Maybe it's like... Um, well, let's assume that there's some kind of starship design that we're going to have up here, and hopefully we draw it perspective and everything. And he wants to go through... What's the best way to do it? What if I have it like this? Or maybe I can just start flipping it, try it different ways. How about this? Let's say I take this and I flip it this way. Or I rotate it. Kind of works as a rotation. Nope, go back. Go back, rotate again. Let me try again. Rotate 45 degrees. So in comics, this is a very esoteric point. Your protagonist or your point of view character, this is not a protagonist, he's an antagonist. Your point of view character should be on the left, going right to move into the story. If something's in retreat, or if you're going backwards even philosophically, you can put the protagonist on the other side. I don't know who told me that, but I've always taken it as pretty good advice. Okay, so he sees the portal somehow. And we have the ship here, whatever it is. And he says something like, "This is the gateway to the Bright Realm." And then as he tries to go through it, I don't think that's going to work. You know what I think I should do, actually? Now, there's a good chance I should slow this whole sequence down and make it more panels. What if I have the characters, the kind of a back of the head shot, and he's looking through the view screen or something somehow? This is the back of the head, so. And he says something like, "Ahead, the Bright Realm," and he's going to have some kind of monologue. He's definitely a monologuing villain, right? So, um, well, I get a super long finger. Maybe he even. I'm torn whether I should have him leave the ship. You know, one of the. So there's basically three powers that the Titans have. Everything else comes from some kind of magical item. The three powers are super strong, super tough, and able to fly. And in super tough means they can fly in space. So Starlock has done it. Prometheus Powers has done it. Obviously, Stardust should be able to do it as well. So those are the three abilities that they all have. Everything else comes from some item. So, for example, Prometheus Powers has the Lantern of Knowledge, and Starlock has the mace that he took off of the Moon Titan. All right. So hang on. I like the idea of this panel right here, but I think I've made his head too big. And there's a good chance I'm going to have to do more of him in panel. I mean, we've given a pretty good establishing shot on the previous page, because that's the splash. So and we don't know what the ship looks like yet either. So maybe we show the ship here. And we'll show him flying out of the ship. Whatever it is. I think the ship should be much bigger. Like when you look at the previous page, I don't know, he's inside a kind of this sort of equipment pod looking thing, and he calls it a landing craft. Even now, I must rely on this crude landing craft to plumb the space between stars. As poetic as that is, I think it's incorrect. I think he should say, in order to find the opening to the Bright Realm, or find the let's see. So let's change that line of dialogue. So this primitive on this crude landing craft to find the ever shifting portal to the Bright Realm. This is what making comics is all about. It's a constant revision, constant creative revision. Now I've got this in the wrong place, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you for why. I don't want to lose the hand by sticking it behind a speech bubble, so I can always move this stuff and push it down. Everything else is looking good. Okay, so let's get back to this thing here. I like this idea here. He's found it. He jumps out, and then we're finally going to see. How about we do this like just 3 panels? Like, let's just go large. And we'll see the ship. Whatever I design it as. We'll see. Let's make, okay, even better. Maybe the ship is in the foreground. Let's make him a bit bigger, maybe? And then let's show this. This opening. This is the gateway, right? And it's in space. It's a kind of floating in space, this portal. And then we'll see Stardust flying. Let's take this one out. So these are, obviously I'm just doing stick figures. The problem is I gotta show them from behind. And I mean, this leg has to change just a bit. And here he's confronting it. He says, you know, he's going to have this big dramatic line about wandering the dark and cold universe for too long, banished from my homeworld. And then he tries to go through it and he gets rejected. So, if this is page 2, this is kind of on the back side. So, let's keep this as the whole sequence. This is good enough for right now. I know we're at 18 minutes. But let's try and think up some dialogue here. So Stardust, in the vein of you know Titan, he has to have like real overblown, grandiose language. Plus, he's a villain, which amps it up even more. So let's give it a shot here. There on my view screen. The portal has appeared. Okay. Now we don't want to go in too far. Oh, which comic font am I using too? I'm using something called something BB. Oh, it's Jack Armstrong. Jack Armstrong BB, and I'm using it at 14 point type or 16 point type. By the way, you'll notice that the leading is way off on Jack Armstrong BB, but that's okay. Let's use it. Let's try it at 16 point and see what it looks like. Wow, looks good. 6. We're going to do it a 6. And we'll have to somehow show. Oh, by the way, Yeah. We also want to use every panel to introduce new information and a story on its own. Like if you could only give somebody one page of comics, and by the way, when these post to Instagram, you're only going to get one page of comics at a time. You want it to still be kind of followable, just like, it may not be completely followable. Like if you were reading Dick Tracy or something like that, a full Dick Tracy story is probably 40 or 50 strips, right, of these short strips. Um, but if you read one, you'll notice it has a beginning and it has an end, so every single page. So that's what we got to do here too. Um, so let's introduce this character and explain his powers. As a Titan, I have no need for a spacesuit. Um, he calls the spaceship a crude lander, this crude landing ship, this primitive conveyance. Serve me no more. He could just fly. And that tells, why is this panel important? Well, first of all, he's saying he thinks he's really close to his goal. But it also explains his powers. You have to constantly be kind of explaining this stuff in every panel if you can get away with it. There we go. 6 sledding. Now, if we want to know what this thing is, right? Whoops, cancel. For here is the entrance to the Bright Realm. And what is the Bright Realm? Well, you might be wondering yourself. To the Bright Realm. Where is it? To the Bright Realm. My former shard. My castle. Not my castle, my palace. My all my belongings. Whoops, still lie untouched. $14 or $16? We said $16. We have plenty of room in these panels because we went so big. Okay. Here is the entrance to the Bright Realm, my former shard. This is where my palace and all my belongings still lie untouched. Let's make Bright Realm bold italic. And the word untouched will also be emphasized. Protected my... No, I'm going to say I protected my treasures. So this place. Older than time itself. Time itself. Select all. Bring it down. 16, regular. There we go. Okay. I was almost kind of feeling bad that I was only doing three simple panels. All right. This one's got to be worked on a bit. With my ultimate revenge. I said upstart Prometheus Powers. Right, so you get the villain vibe coming off of him already. Hang on. 6. And let's start with and here lies the weapon of my ultimate revenge. So what he finds out, though, this is the villain hubris. What he finds out, though, is the magic actually is going to prevent him from going to his own place again. And that's when he decides he has to just go after Prometheus Powers on his own. So I've set up the story where I have a dedicated, even a fanatical villain who is super powerful, super strong, much tougher and older than the hero. Prometheus Powers is meant to be like a young hero. He's actually kind of based on Captain Marvel Jr. a little bit. Let me show you Prometheus Powers. I'll show you a little bit of him. I got him in color, I think. One of these old ones. Not this one. Where is it? Yeah, I do. Oh, come on, where is it? Not that one. Could it be this one? Here it is. Okay, it is in color. This is without the without the lettering. That's Prometheus Powers. You notice he has the armbands, right? You notice he's younger looking, and he can fly, and he's super strong. There's his magic lantern. So, this is an early comic for me, and then later, I've had to improve my art a lot, to get better at it. This is from the very first one. This is in 2020. Let me show you another Prometheus Powers one. Hang on. And then the second appearance is in the 9-volt Christmas special. If I can find it. I might have lost it. Nope. It's in there somewhere. That was 9-volt pulp. Could it be this one? Nope. Could it be? Man, I don't know. I may have lost it. Anyway, I'm sure I have it somewhere. I've got the PDF of it. Well, anyways, so the second one is in the Christmas special. Then the third one is this one. You can tell my art has improved a little bit since then. I'm using some of the same format here. And I've got the sidekick character, which is Abrax. It's a little bit like Ibix the Invincible. Oops. I'm just killing this program over and over again. All right, anyways. So, long-winded thing. We're at 31 minutes. Please like, follow, and subscribe, and I will be doing more comics every day. You can tell I've already got pretty much 2 pages. Well, I've got 1, 2, just the most bare bones layout roughs. Once I get to 4, I'm going to commit to 4 pages. Then we're going to go in, and by the way, we'll be tightening all this stuff up. This one's kind of tighter over here on the first page. You know, I've added a lot of details and things, and you can kind of see what's going on. There we go. There's the whole thing. Then we'll have kind of a lot more to show. But for now, you know, all these we do 1 video a day, rain or shine. So if we don't have a full sort of inking thing to show, that doesn't mean we're not still going at it. You know, and trying to complete pages. This is my Kirby-esque technology. There we go. Got to figure out what else to add to it. Right over here, title and credits. So there we go. All right, like I said, please like, follow, and subscribe. There will be more Prometheus Powers. There will be more comics every day. A new comic begins. Talk to you later.